The sand was the color of crushed grapes, and it stuck to my boots the moment I stepped through the gate. The noise hit me next, a wall of sound so massive it felt physical, like a wave breaking against my chest. Thousands of alien voices, all screaming at once, and not a single one of them screaming for me. I did not mind. I stood at one end of the grand arena of Velkrath and took a slow breath. The air tasted like copper and something sweet, like burned sugar, and the gravity pulled at me just a little harder than Earth ever had. My legs felt heavy. My shoulders felt heavier. I had trained in weighted gear for 6 months just for this, so that when the moment came, I would not notice. I noticed a little, but not enough to matter. The arena was enormous, 300 feet across, open to a sky that was the wrong shade of blue. More green than blue, really, like someone had mixed them together and gotten the ratio slightly wrong. The stands rose so high they seemed to brush that strange sky. Every seat was full. The species that filled them were many and varied. Tall ones, short ones, ones with too many limbs, ones with luminous patches of skin that shifted color as they felt things. All of them were looking at the same place, at the creature on the other end of the sand. The Zareth Reaver was 9 feet tall. It stood on 2 rear legs and 2 forward legs, and used 2 more limbs as arms, so that it had 6 total, each one ending in something that was not quite a hand, and not quite a claw, but was absolutely built for tearing. Its armor was not armor someone had put on it. Its armor was itself, dark plates of natural material, layered like a beetle's shell, covering every surface that mattered. It had no eyes that I could see. It had 3 narrow slits on the side of its head, where eyes would normally be, and they caught the light and threw it back like mirrors. It breathed in long, slow pulls, and each breath moved the plates on its chest. The announcer said something in the standard tongue that I had been learning for 8 months, and still only half understood. The crowd laughed. The Reaver moved its head slowly in my direction, and all 3 of those mirror slits found me. I looked back. I was thinking about its left side. I had spent 3 weeks studying Zareth Reavers before this fight. Not their combat record, though I had read that too, but their biology, their muscle structure, the way their nervous system was laid out, based on captured medical scans from a library database that took me 4 days to get access to. I knew that the cluster of nerves sitting behind the jaw, on the left side, just below where the armor plates overlapped and left a small gap, was sensitive enough that a precise strike there would cause a full-body shutdown lasting approximately 40 seconds. 40 seconds was more than enough. The horn sounded, a long note that vibrated in my back teeth, and the Reaver moved. It was fast, I will give it that. For something that size, the acceleration was startling, and I felt the part of my brain that is very old and very honest tell me to run. I told that part of my brain to be quiet. I stepped left instead of back, let the Reaver's first swing carry it past me, and felt the air move against my face as 6 feet of arm missed me by less than I would have liked. The crowd made a sound that was not quite a boo, and not quite a gasp. Somewhere in the middle, I moved away, not running. Repositioning. There is a difference that I knew, and they did not. The Reaver turned. It was already breathing faster than it had been at the start. I noted that. I counted. I kept moving. From the royal box above the south end of the arena, I had caught a glimpse of her when I first walked in. The Princess Seraphiel Eowyn. She sat in a chair that was more of a throne, dressed in silver and pale blue. Her hair, if you could call it hair, it was more like dozens of very fine, very pale threads that moved slightly, even without wind, arranged carefully around her. She had looked at me the way someone looks at a minor inconvenience, a politely unfortunate situation that would resolve itself quickly. I noticed her because I notice exits, high ground, and anyone in authority. It is a habit. It kept me alive in places far less decorated than this arena. The Reaver charged again. This time it committed more weight to the right side, which told me something. I let it swing twice more, absorbing what each movement told me, and then I moved further left than it expected, and watched its recovery. It was slower than the first recovery. Not much, a fraction, but I was counting fractions. My grandfather used to say that hunting was just mathematics wearing a coat. You counted steps, you counted sounds, you counted how long it took for the deer to put its head back down after raising it in alarm. You added the numbers together, and they told you when to move and when to stay still and when to take the shot. He said it like it was simple. It took me years to understand that it was, actually, simple, just slow, and most people did not have the patience for slow. The crowd had found a rhythm of noise by now, a low, rolling sound that told me they were getting frustrated. The announcer spoke again. This time, I caught enough words to understand he was calling me afraid. Good. An opponent who thinks you are afraid stops looking for what you are actually doing. The Reaver had charged at me 9 times now. The 10th charge, I knew, was going to be different. I had watched its breathing change through the last 3 passes. It was past the point where its body was working efficiently, moving into the range where frustration and fatigue would make decisions for it instead of instinct. Creatures that are bred for short, violent encounters do not carry deep patience. They are built for explosion, not for a long burn. And I had been burning it slowly, the same way you drain a pond. Not all at once, but steadily, with patience, by simply letting it flow out of itself. The Reaver coiled on its rear legs. I saw the weight transfer to the left side, the dominant side, even more pronounced now, because fatigue was stripping away the fine control that would normally distribute it more evenly. I felt something settle in my chest, not excitement, not nerves, just recognition. Like looking at a math problem and seeing the answer arrive. The 10th charge was faster than I expected. It was also, because of the full commitment to the left, more predictable than anything it had done before. I moved forward instead of away, which broke every expectation the Reaver and the crowd both had about what I would do. 1 step inside the arc of its arm. The nerve cluster behind the left jaw was now at the exact height and angle I had placed in my mind 3 weeks ago, in a library on the other side of known space. I reached up. The strike was not dramatic. It was not a punch. It was a press. Targeted, firm, my thumb and 2 fingers finding the gap in the plates with a precision I had practiced on a foam model so many times that my hand knew the shape of the space without being told. For a single moment, the Reaver went perfectly still. Then all 6 limbs folded, and 9 feet of armored predator went straight down into the violet sand. And then the voice. Stop. It came from the royal box, from above and to the south, and it hit the arena like something thrown. Every voice in that enormous space went quiet, as if a hand had closed around the sound. Guards moved, officials turned. I was already standing still, hands open at my sides, watching the Reaver's plates rise and fall with shallow breathing. The princess was on her feet. Her silver robes were in disarray. One hand was raised, flat-palmed, toward the arena floor. Her face held an expression that I could not read entirely, but the parts I could read were not pity, and were not fear in the usual sense. It was the expression of someone who had just seen a word in a language they were still learning, and understood it, unexpectedly and completely, and found that understanding troubling. She was invoking the royal halt. I learned this later. A formal authority that had not been used in 60 years. It ended the bout. It ended the scoring. It ended everything currently in motion, and placed it all on pause until the royal will was stated. The arena did not know what to do with that. Neither did I, honestly, but I kept my hands open and stayed where I was. They brought me through a side passage and up 2 long flights of stairs to a private room off the main corridor. Marble walls threaded with living light, the air smelling of ozone and something floral that I did not recognize. The princess was already there, standing by a window that looked out over the arena floor, where workers were helping the Reaver to its feet. Her advisor stood behind her, a tall, narrow being with 4 arms and an expression of pure distress. She turned when I entered. The guards stepped back. We looked at each other. You were afraid, she said. Her standard was perfect, each word placed carefully. You ran from it for 12 minutes. And yet the ending. She paused. The ending did not match the beginning. I was not afraid, I said. Then what was it? I thought about how to say it simply. Do you know what a hunter is? She said she did. She listed things. Beings who pursued prey, who used weapons, who were skilled trackers. She was not wrong. She was describing the surface of it. I said, a hunter does not fight the animal. A hunter learns the animal. Every movement it makes, every pattern, every weakness, and every habit. The fight, if you can call it that, it is only the last 5 seconds. Everything before it is preparation. Everything before it is the hunt. She was quiet for a moment. You were hunting it, she said. Not a question. Yes. For 12 minutes. I needed 10. I had 2 to spare. The advisor made a sound. She stopped him with one raised finger without looking at him. Her eyes stayed on me. "Why did you not tell anyone?" she asked. "A predator does not announce the hunt," I said. "It just hunts." She turned back to the window. The reaver was standing now, unsteady, its mirror slits directed at the ground. She watched it for a long time. "I stopped the bout," she said quietly, "because I saw you move forward instead of away. Every species I have watched in that arena moves away when it is frightened. You moved forward, and the way you moved—" She stopped, started again. There was no anger in it, no desperation. It was very calm. That was the thing that alarmed me most. Not the capability, the calm. I did not say anything. She was working through it, and she did not need my help. "How long have humans been this way?" she asked. 200,000 years, I said. "Give or take." She closed her eyes briefly. "Every empire that has met your species has built its threat assessments around fighters. We study your weapons and your armies, and your historical battles. We measure your physical strength and your pain tolerance and your aggression." She opened her eyes. "We were wrong, weren't we? Fighters meet you in the open," I said. "Hunters choose the ground, the moment, and the method. Fighters stop when one side breaks. Hunters stop when the hunt is finished. Sometimes that is the same thing. Often it is not." She looked at me for a long time. Then she said something that surprised me. She said, "I want you at my table, not as a spectacle, as a representative of your people. A species that can do what you did in that arena, and still choose restraint, is a species I want beside me, not across from me." I accepted. It seemed like the correct answer, and it was also the true one. She extended the inside of her wrist toward me, a formal gesture in her culture, I had read, meaning something between alliance and acknowledgement. I pressed mine against it. Her skin was cooler than I expected, and faintly luminous up close. She held the contact a moment longer than formality required. I did not remark on it, and neither did she. The guards walked me back through the corridor. I passed the window overlooking the arena floor. The reaver was moving now, under its own power, making its way slowly toward the gate it had come from. As I passed, something made it stop. It turned its head, all three mirror slits coming up to find me through the glass. For 3 full seconds, it was completely still. Then it walked on. I stepped out through the outer door into the alien afternoon, and the sun, too white, too high, landed on my face. I thought about my grandfather. I thought about mud and rain, and 6 hours in a forest, and the lesson that never really ended. I thought about the princess's eyes and what I had seen arrive inside them. Not fear exactly, and not respect exactly, but something between the two that did not have a name in her language or mine. Then I stopped thinking, and just walked. A hunter rests between hunts. That is all this was.